Delegate. Yeah. Figure out, because somebody once said, if you own a business, are you working in the business or are you a true business owner? I want to make sure that every small business owner listening to this show right now has a mentor. There's so many statistics out there that if you have a mentor, you are going to do better by a lot.
All right. Good morning, Savannah, and welcome to the Savannah Business Showcase. I'm your host, Therese, and I'm here this morning with a very, very special guest, Marjorie Young. She's the owner of Carriage Trade Public Relations, where they help build positive word of mouth in the community and online using reputation management strategies.
Good morning.
Thank
you for having me
Thank you
on
for
your
being on the show. Yeah, thank you. So I'm glad to have you here. The way I like to usually start now, I start with the scenario. Okay, so here we go. You're in your neighborhood, you're going for a walk, and a little kid comes up to you and they say, Marjorie, you're my hero. How can I be like you when I grow up? And so in the language that a 10 or 12-year-old can understand, what does it take to be Marjorie Young?
Seeking passion. I would ask that 10-year-old, what do you love to do? I read a really cool book one time called Do What You Love and the Money Will Follow. And there's so much truth to that. The way I actually got into this business was from that book.
Okay.
I looked at all the different ways that I could, that all the different things that made me really happy. Like I volunteered as a military wife and did the newsletter. I loved to kayak. I loved to paint. So I wrote 10 of those things down that I love to do. And then I figured out how I can make money around each of them.
Right.
So being an artist, that's a little iffy. Teaching kayaking, that's a little iffy. But doing newsletters, doing marketing, that came at the top of my list.
Okay.
So, and then you figure out which one would make the most money. And that's really part of the formula of how I figured out my passion.
Okay.
And what I wanted to do. And that was back in 1995.
That's awesome.
That's a long time ago. So I would tell that 10-year-old to pay a lot of attention to what brings you energy and happiness and go in that direction. I mean, there's two schools of thought. Okay. Some people think that it should be strictly business. I fall in the other camp. I mean, as a small business owner, you have to get up every day and do it again and again and again. And it's not 9 to 5. It's 7 days a week.
Right.
So my philosophy is you better be in love with what you're doing.
Yeah.
So follow your passion.
Yeah. So how would you describe your passion?
My mission in life is really to help small business owners. My family, I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family.
Okay.
My mom and my dad, I grew up in the D.C. area, and my mother helped found the newspaper, The Georgetowner. Okay. So my parents were so connected.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So from there, they started 2 magazines, Dining in Washington and Shopping in Washington. So they got married and started the business, all in 1960, and then I was born 9 months later. It's like, oh my God, can you think of anything more stressful? So I actually grew up in a very entrepreneurial family. I saw a lot of highs and I saw a lot of lows. And the lows are really scary. And when it goes low, I mean, I remember thinking as a very young 12-year-old, gosh, I can see, there's some of the accounting, I see envelopes laying around. I mean, at a young age, I knew that they knew their trade, but there needed to be some systems in place. And so at a very young age, I started reading business books and just getting into how to help my family's business. And so in 1986, my mother, at the age of 54, died. She was only 54 years old.
I'm sorry.
So they're one half of the business. My mother was the talent. She wrote the articles. She took the pictures, and my dad sold the ads in the magazines and got it printed. So half of the business died all of a sudden. So we had to figure out what to do. So of course we couldn't do the magazines anymore. So we ended up doing just printing. And that was a whole new industry. I mean, and the first couple of years were really, really terrible. I mean, really terrible. And I've given this talk before about how I had to jump in and help turn the company around because we were hugely in debt, back payroll taxes. I remember one night being in the office, and it was really late at night, and like 11, 12 o'clock at night. And I just had piles of bills overdue, suing, all these bills sitting there. And I just sat on the ground and I started to cry. And I was like, oh my God, send me a sign. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And
this is still in DC?
This is in Alexandria. Yeah. Okay. And I remember looking up on the plate glass window, and I realized that my father had just moved to another location to save on cost, and he didn't have a sign up there that said Carriage Trade Printing. And I took it as a sign from God that, all right, there's a sign. I need a sign. Yeah. And I spent the rest of the night cutting out all the letters. Actually, I put it up on the computer, printed it out, and cut it out.
Okay.
and stuck it up there with sticky tape. But we had a sign. I mean, that's the guerrilla marketing. But it started from there. And the next thing I did was I sent in a press release.
Okay.
And that's really how my career started, because that press release got picked up in the papers up there saying that we were celebrating 30 years in business. Even though it wasn't the magazine, we still held the Inc. name.
Gotcha.
Carriage Trade Publishing. So it got picked up.
Nice. So
once it got picked up, I could then go out and sell to people, just saying, oh, look, the newspaper says this about us. They actually didn't, they did a really big article. It wasn't just, Carriage Trade celebrating 30 years. It was, they went and talked to the few clients we had left, and it was rave reviews. I mean, it was so powerful. We actually blew it up really big, put it in the office, and any sales call I went on, I showed them that. And it was like, wow, that's a third-party endorsement.
Yeah.
It's so powerful.
It is.
I actually call PR powerful reputation.
I like that.
I mean, that's what it does. It builds your reputation in the community using these strategies.
Got you.
So, I remember the IRS wanted to know when they were going to get all this back payroll taxes. And I remember this,
of course.
This lovely man came out to the office with the IRS, Mr. Washington, and thank heavens I had put together a quote plan. I mean, it was on a grid showing all the people that we owed money to, and it was a lot of money. I mean, it was a lot of money. But I also had another grid that showed how I planned to market and increase my sales, how many calls I'm going to make a day. And if it wasn't for that, I think he would have closed us down right there because it was a lot of money.
Gotcha.
But he literally took off his glasses and said, all right, I'm going to give you one more try, one more chance. And if you miss one payment, we're going to close you down. So that was trial by fire. Yeah. It was a really scary time for our family. My dad was also diagnosed with lung cancer. We had to sell the house for cash flow. We had to get rid of the car. Everybody lost health insurance at that point because we didn't have the cash flow to pay for it. And it took about 3 years to turn that around. It was the most stressful time of my life.
I can imagine, yeah.
But, I mean, the lessons that I learned were so valuable. I remember reaching out into the community up there and to other small business owners. And this is why I ended up starting Open for Business, the TV show on tips and advice, because I would reach out to the small business owners and say, okay, what's your best advice on payroll taxes? And they would say, you have to have a company. You have to have a third outside company taking care of it. The IRS, looks favorably on that. But I would ask all sorts of questions, and it took a while to turn it around. Yeah. And a lot of patience. But
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. So like, what do you think is different about you? Because most owners that come from entrepreneurs and business owners that have children, the kids usually don't become entrepreneurs. They usually go to college and get a degree and do something.
Well, I
safe.
did that, and I even got an MRS. So
Okay,
I was
okay.
on my way. I was a military wife. I was married to an Army doctor, and we had lived in Italy 3 years, in Germany. I mean, it was a lovely life.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
My husband at the time got stationed. He got orders to go over to the first Gulf War. So that's right at the same time when the recession was happening, and I went back to help my dad. I actually moved back from Germany and spent a year.
Gotcha.
And then we somehow managed to get stationed in the D.C. area, so I could do the other 2 years mopping up. So, and actually, my daddy's father was an entrepreneur. Okay. And a very successful one. And people say, well, what did he do? And I said, well, he was a plumber, but he was a distributor, and he plumbed. His contract was the Pentagon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
very successful.
Exactly. So, Daddy grew up an entrepreneur.
Got you.
And my mom's parents, not so much. He was a doctor, a PhD, and my grandmother stayed at home.
So even at that, you saw all the lows, you saw all the hardship that comes with entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So why did you decide to start your own thing?
Oh, honey, it's called freedom. I mean, the freedom to be able to be your own boss, even if it's 7 days a week, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, is worth it. Have you ever done the values assessment test?
I don't think so. I've done
It's
a lot of
really
assessment
cool.
tests.
I mean, you can find them online, and they're for free. And some of them are for free. But you go online, and you write down. I mean, they give you like 1,000 words, but you need to pick like the top 5. Well, my top one is freedom. Okay. So that answers a lot of questions. Like, okay, if I rented or bought a corner shop to have my company in, is that freedom? No. Right. So in 2004 or 5, we've been up in the cloud on Basecamp for a long time. That gives us the freedom to work anywhere. And I think it makes for happier employees, happier owner. I mean, to know that I can be in my yoga pants and be working, Right. Yeah. I mean, and I do like to schedule my days, 3 times a week. I'll be downtown in Savannah and be dressed up. The other days I get so much work done when
at home, right?
Yeah, totally.
No distractions.
I mean, I really don't know how people do it when they work in an office. Yeah. I mean, it just seems like it's one distraction after the next. So we're very productive. We're incredibly productive. I wouldn't at this point, wouldn't even, being in business almost 23 years, I wouldn't even consider it because we just have it down so well. Okay. We use a lot of free stuff. Google Docs, we use them. We also use the Google Chat, the Hangouts. Okay. So our team is on talking all day long. And if we need to, we'll turn on the Google video and we see each other. Yeah. But
that's also that's the beauty of the cloud and the internet, right? It's just everything can be remote.
How did people do it before then? I mean, we're so productive because of that. Yeah. Plus, it still gives you the freedom of working wherever you want to work. As long as you have internet. And it's funny, like if I do go someplace and my question is, well, do you have internet? They're like, well, this is a vacation spot. I'm like, I know that, but I just want to be able to know that I can turn it on, but I can just as easily turn it off. Right. So, yeah.
Okay. So we haven't even talked about what you do yet. So what do you do, Marjorie?
So when people need to increase their positive word of mouth in the community, they come to us and they say, we need better visibility. We need to be positioned as the authority in whatever they're in. And we create a strategy for them, a public relations strategy. We never just jump right in and start writing press releases because this is your reputation. So it needs to be thought out, planned for the year, and put together. So, in this size community in Savannah, we put out about 1 press release a month. Okay. Any more than that, it's too small of a market,
Gotcha.
you know, and it gets obnoxious. You can see some people that they're just in the press too much. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's just,
Yeah.
yeah. So we do that. We'll get our CEOs speaking. We'll videotape them. We'll put them up online with keywords, SEO, so they'll come up in the search engine. So our goal is, like, let's say we're working with somebody and we want to highlight their reputation. We create content that's going to come up in the search engine. So if I type in your name, I'm going to see, oh, you know, you're the authority. You just gave a talk in this. Oh, you just won an award. You know, here's a press release on that. Here's an article on that. Oh, you're a charitable organization. Oh, you care about the community. You know, so we report on all that and we let the media know in hopes of it getting picked up.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's the traditional media is hugely important because if it gets into the traditional media, they rank higher in Google, so they're going to come up higher compared to like a social media post.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
it builds the credibility.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so nice. Okay, so are you still doing Open for Business?
I do. We actually moved it online.
Okay.
So we do the Facebook Live. They opened that I guess a year ago.
And what is Open for Business again?
It's where entrepreneurs share their tips and advice about growing companies. So the first one that we actually went live with was I interviewed Diana Morrison.
Okay.
And she shared all her tips about what it took to open a building and what she learned about that.
Okay, so I'm new here. So who's Diana Morrison?
Diana Morrison owns Advertising Specialty Services. You
Okay.
haven't interviewed her?
No,
yet?
not yet,
Yeah.
no.
Okay, yeah. So she's past chair of the Savannah Area Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
The president. Huge advocate for small business.
Awesome.
Huge. And Diana and I are part of what we call a board of directors, women board of directors over the years. And that's where we would get together once a month and talk about everybody's business. So there was 4 of us. And
So kind of like a mastermind,
yeah.
but just
Yeah,
gotcha.
but it's
Okay.
powerful because, you know, she'll get 10 minutes to talk about maybe an HR problem. Another person will have, you know, a marketing question, and we just all help each other. And then it actually turns out to be like it's almost like a referral network because you get to know your group so well. None of us are in competition.
Right.
That they become ambassadors for you, and I become ambassadors for them. So it's that positive word of mouth.
Brilliant.
That's how, yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost anything.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was in Chicago, I started a mastermind, the Chicago Entrepreneurship Mastermind.
Is that like the mastermind with the Dale Carnegie? That kind of mastermind?
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost exactly what you're doing. But
Yeah.
A lot of people showed up, so I broke them up into groups.
Yeah.
And we just all met once a month. And the groups were about
Beautiful.
600 people before I left.
Good heavens.
Yeah. I couldn't transfer it down here anyway.
Well, you could start one down here.
I tried. I did 2. Nobody showed up to the second one. So
think
so
you should
maybe
try
maybe
again.
maybe I'll try it again.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know BNI is big down here.
Yep.
And Vistage, I think.
I haven't heard of Vistage yet.
yeah.
Okay.
So, but like these women board of directors, or these board of directors are like laser focused.
Yeah.
So.
Which would be more helpful, honestly, than just general.
Yeah, 6 is the max.
Gotcha.
When we put them together. I mean, it's actually a strategy we use. And I'm writing a book called Building Word of Mouth.
Okay.
So that's also a strategy that I'm talking about in the book.
Okay.
It should be done in 2018.
Nice.
I already have buildingwordofmouth.com, so
You have to do it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, I have 30,000 words written and my editor
Okay.
wants 40. So
That's not bad.
I'm almost
got it.
there in my spare time. Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
Why 40? Why that number?
I don't know. Apparently, he does a lot of business books, and he's out of California, and that's
just the number.
That's the formula.
Okay.
Yeah, just like us, one press release a month. It's the formula.
Got you. That
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I would assume that like everybody says like things are the less. It's what am I trying to say? The less words you use, the better.
Right.
The less words you use, the more powerful.
Right, and
right?
that's
If you
considered
could-
a small book, actually.
Okay.
Which
Yeah.
for us in the media business, that's like a lot of words.
Right,
Like because I
right.
could probably say everything in 20 bullet points. So, Yeah,
Right, so you
we're
gotta
the
stretch it out.
queens of cut. We have to take everything and get it down into. Yeah, it's interesting working with the public and the information they give us, because we have to get it down to 400 words to send it out to the media. And sometimes we'll get 1,000, 2,000 words, and we have to boil it down and just get to the most important thing. And that's how the book's going to be too.
Gotcha.
It is.
Gotcha.
We already have a very small booklet with the same information.
Okay.
But it's too small, according to him. I was like, okay. So.
Got you. So what have you learned from Open for Business? What have you learned from the entrepreneurs you're interviewing?
Oh my gosh, I've been doing that. The first one went on in 2000. So I love interviewing lawyers. I just find the contract stuff is so interesting. How you really need, if you have a contract, you better have a lawyer look at it and make sure you're not leaving anything out of it to keep you safe. And I love all the SEO stuff I learned. Actually, at one point, I pulled in Joe Ippolito with River Horse Internet Marketing.
I have heard of him. Yeah. Yeah.
So we hosted the show together for a while.
Nice.
This is a long time ago. This is before Facebook, and we can just go live, and it's just what you see is what you get.
Right.
So, it was fun. And actually, one time, I guess about 15 years ago, we did a marketing makeover.
Okay.
So one of us from each area went into a company, and we made them over, did a marketing makeover, with the SEO, with their printed stuff, with their PR. So that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever thought about bringing that back?
Not on cable. I love this live stream platform. I mean, to me, it is so in the now. It is so real.
Right.
And what you see is what you get.
Right. Yeah. You get the authenticity that people are looking for.
Yeah, totally. I mean, when we tell folks we want to go live, they all just get this look like, no. I'm like, oh, come on here, and before you know it, we're 3, 2, 1, and we're live.
Right.
So, but it's just, I mean, it's the energy of it is just very powerful compared to how we used to do it. We used to do a lot of takes because it's just it's hard. I know it's just exactly. So it live is fun. Live is really fun. Yeah, you get different
the real,
energy.
Yeah, you get the realness of a person.
Yeah,
live.
Totally.
So why Savannah? How'd you end up in Savannah?
So I ended up in Savannah. I was married to an Army doctor, and we got stationed down here.
Okay.
After I helped turn my father's business around. Matter of fact, the month that we moved down to Savannah was the last payment to the IRS.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yep. So I got down.
Was president of.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I cried. Just thank you, God. So when I got down here, I knew I wanted to do something like that. And so I named my company after my father's company, Carriage Trade Public Relations. He's Carriage Trade Publishing. But my real official name that nobody knows is Carriage Trade Publishing 2 Incorporated.
Okay.
But I DBA is Carriage Trade PR, Carriage Trade Public Relations. So I started the company, and when I first started, I did a lot more marketing. I did, because I came from a printing background. I knew how to do that, but not that I liked it. But what happened was people kept saying, can you get us in the paper again? Can you get us on the radio again? So pretty soon, I guess it was 2 or 3 years into it, that I did the DBA as Carriage Trade PR and just focused solely on public relations.
Gotcha. And
reputation building. And best decision I've ever made. So many books that I've ever read, the people I've talked to. If you can niche, it's better with keywords. It's better. It's just better all around. But I can see why people do reach out and start doing other things because of opportunities, money and stuff.
It's hard to turn it down.
But so I'm in the camp where I just want to do one thing, and I want to do it really, really well.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with that.
Because it's a lot of energy. People will say, oh, well, this company, not only do they do PR, they do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, How about it? Because one of those things is going to be put on the back burner.
Yes, I agree. It's kind of like going to a restaurant and they have burgers and pizza and pasta. And, you know what I mean? Like they have everything. Like you want to go to an Italian restaurant. And sushi. Yeah.
Like, okay, what's wrong with this picture? Which one do you do really well? When we pull team members onto our team, I mean, we have a questionnaire, what is your passion? What area of PR? Do you like photography? Do you like research? There's some people in PR that they like the behind the scenes stuff. So we figure out what their strength is and we just, that's what they do.
Yeah.
We don't make them do the other stuff. That's what, they do that one thing.
Yeah. What is your strength?
I've had to learn it all. Okay.
Of course. Yeah.
I've had to learn it all. I like
I guess
the strategy of figuring it out.
Yeah, like if you
Mine
could do
one
one
thing.
thing.
The strategy.
Okay.
Yes, because figuring out how you want to be, what your reputation is in the community, and how to highlight it best.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I mean, that's the same way you pretty much saved your dad's business by having a strategy for how much you owed and a strategy for how you're going to pay it back.
Yeah,
so it makes a lot of sense.
It really makes me nervous when people just jump right into communications. Because like I said, it's your reputation.
Right.
You just can't just be like, oh, that's a press release. Let's write about it. Oh, Lordy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because here's the thing. Once it gets published, or even if you post it online, I mean, it's very hard to take any of that stuff offline.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get into, like, if it's something that shouldn't have gone up, crisis PR. And we do a lot of crisis PR training and workshops here.
Okay.
And because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Most businesses have a crisis. So be prepared.
Awesome.
Practice.
Awesome. So, Marjorie, we have to take a break in just a second. So is there anything that we left out that you want to mention before we go to break?
Yes, I want to make sure that every small business owner listening to this show right now has a mentor. There's so many statistics out there that if you have a mentor, you are going to do better by a lot.
Yeah.
And there's organizations out there like SCORE that offer free mentorship. You can go to score.org, and let's say you're in the radio business. Just put in radio. And somewhere in there will be somebody that has been in your industry. And they will tell you, you connect on email first, and then you can eventually do video mentoring. But you can ask them very industry-specific questions like, well, what kind of insurance do I need? Do you recommend it? What do you recommend about marketing? What do you recommend? I mean, very industry-specific. I mean, they put a number on it, like you're going to make $15,000 to $20,000 more a year just by having a mentor. I mean, they've taken a survey.
Yeah.
So that, and plus here locally in Savannah, I am past president in 2011 to 2013. There's about 30 mentors that you can do face-to-face with too. And they're all very qualified. We all have to take an exam to be certified to be a mentor. So, and everything's very confidential. But, and don't just go in one time. I encourage you to keep that it's like a friendship. I mean, come out to your business. They'll come out to your business, assess it. I mean, they're like an extension. And,
Got you.
And it's free. I mean, why wouldn't you? And actually, I learned about SCORE helping to turn my dad's company around.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's how I got involved with it, and that's why I got involved with it later, because I wanted to pay it forward. So the other organization is Small Business Development Center, and they're here in Savannah. They're all over the state of Georgia. They also have free mentoring. And years ago, 20-some years ago, when I first came here, my mentor was Lynn Voss. This is before you came. And Lynn would sit down with me and go over my QuickBooks and help me get set up. I mean, I'm telling you, there's free help here locally in Savannah. And make sure you take advantage of it.
Beautiful.
And reach out to other small business owners, like I did, helping my dad's turn my dad's business around, because they're in the trenches. They know, you can read plenty of books, but I'm telling you, ask a small business owner, because they know.
Especially locally, because they'll know the local trends and everything.
Oh yeah, and this is the most business friendly community.
It is. I'm learning. Yeah, I'm learning that. Yeah, it is.
I think Inc. magazine named Savannah one of the top 10 places to do business.
Really?
Because it
Okay.
was a number of years ago, but it still pertains. I mean, this place is awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
okay, but before we go, so the more we talk, I'm realizing that you have been the president of pretty much everything here in Savannah. So what outside of you said you said SCORE, you were the president of SCORE. What else have you been president of?
The Small Business Chamber back in 1998, 99,
Okay.
20, long time ago. And then the Small Business Council, that's a chair. That's
Okay.
with the Savannah Area Chamber of Commerce. So there's two separate chambers here. People
Gotcha.
don't realize that. One's with the Savannah Area Chamber and one's with the Small Business Chamber.
Okay.
And then there's buy local.
Right.
And there's a really good diagram. I think SBDC has it, just showing the Creative Coast. I mean, there's so many different outlets for small business
Yeah, it is.
here.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
They're
it
all
is.
over the place.
Yeah.
You could throw a rock and see an entrepreneurship center somewhere or something. A
I
group.
know.
Yeah.
I just love the energy here for entrepreneurship. I mean, it's very strong.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Marjorie. We'll be right back, everyone. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the lightning round, and we'll put Marjorie Young, the owner of Carriage Trade Public Relations, through the lightning round.
What's that?
All right, we'll be back in just a second. All right, Savannah, welcome back to the Savannah Business Showcase. I'm your
Raz,
host.
you better be nice to me.
I'll do my best.
The lightning round. I should have done more homework before I came on.
I'll do my best. Okay, you can answer these questions as long or short as you want to, but we'll get started. What did you want to be as a kid, and how does that relate to your current business?
So I wanted to be a teacher, and I teach all the time, business. Yeah, I remember there's a lot of pictures of me in the basement teaching my little brothers things. And so I love teaching.
How have you approached failure in life?
With a plan. Yeah, like when I helped turn my dad's business around, we need a plan for everything. So,
who influenced you early in life, and who's your mentor now?
my daddy. It just, I mean, he was always there. He died 11 years ago, and in 2006, when I won Entrepreneur of the Year with the Savannah Area Chamber of Commerce, my dad had just moved down with me. I got him in with Hospice Savannah. He lived at my house, and his hospice nurse took him to that event that night.
Oh, man.
And from the stage, I dedicated that award to my mentor, my daddy.
Yeah.
And he died 2 weeks later.
Oh, man.
But it was such an awesome.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. He was my mentor. And today I have a lot, like Diana Morrison is my mentor, and I have a SCORE mentor in Las Vegas.
Okay. So tell me a story about a failure.
Let's see. So I have been trying to write this book, Building Word of Mouth, since 2012. And the goal is to write the book, have video, have online classes, and just because this is an area of small business owners need to know this process of creating a public relations plan. I can't seem to find enough time to get all that done. And
Gotcha.
to me, that I mean, I had it on my grid of I'm going to have it done by then, but it just keeps getting pushed to the back burner, which is no buona, not cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So what?
Here's another failure.
Okay.
So for the first 20 years, I was doing the business by myself. First 19, 18 years. I contracted out a lot. I didn't have an employee. I was the only full-time employee. And I thought I was doing really well by being at home with my daughter. I was a stay-at-home single mom. And except when she graduated, and I said, what do you remember most about growing up? And she said, well, Mom, it was kind of hard to compete with Carriage Trade because you were always busy. You were there, but you were always looking at your phone. And I mean, my heart sank.
Yeah.
I was like, but I didn't go to work for somebody else so I could be with you. She said, yeah, you might not have been with me as much as, I mean, you were there, but you weren't really there.
With me, yeah.
So what I tell people now is delegate a lot sooner. I actually went to a business coach, Dr. Dana Boyd, and I think she might be moving back here. I don't know, but we sat in her room and we did yellow stickies, and I wrote down every single thing that we did, and then we divided them into groups and who we could delegate it to. I mean, it was such a weight off my shoulders to just see that I was trying to do everything by myself, and it was impossible. So 3 or 4 years ago, I got some good advice from a mentor that I need to partner up with another firm and be bigger and hire somebody. So we hired Cynthia Wright. She's now our junior partner. And Cecilia Russo Marketing and I collaborate on everything together. So it's a very different business model.
Yeah.
But it's so nice to be able to have people to talk to and share ideas, and it's really working. It's very creative, but and that's why last year I got to take a real true vacation. I walked the Camino de Santiago.
Yeah.
It's a 500-mile trek. And the team handled it beautifully. And up until that point, I never would have been able to do that. Really, really, really be off the grid and not look at my emails, for a month and a half.
Right.
So, yeah.
So is that the advice you would give to a
delegate
entrepreneur?
Yeah. Figure out. I mean, because somebody once said, if you own a business, are you working in the business, or are you a true business owner that you step back and let the business, have people do the business? I went, ooh, yeah. I'm trying to get there. So
yeah, great advice. I like that. Thank you for the story. How did you get your first client? Do you remember?
I do. It was the Jazz Festival. And it's all through word of mouth. I had friends that knew that the contract was out there, and they said something. So it's creating that word of mouth.
Awesome. What did you teach your children about entrepreneurship?
So my daughter is
just one kid.
I have one daughter.
One daughter.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she is working on a PhD in robotics engineering at Georgia Tech.
Wow.
And her undergrad is aerospace and mechanical.
Impressive.
Well, I'm always trying to say, can't we get investors and, we'll create a business out of it. It's really fun. I mean, she knows how much I love small business, and she helps me. I mean, actually, I'm going to tell you something. This is kind of funny.
Okay.
When she was, I think in 7th grade, she helped me with my accounting. She was so good in math.
Wow.
I mean, so she learned that from a very young age. And my accountant would check it, but she would input all the information. And that's how I grew up too. I mean, I remember missing school doing printing jobs, collating, putting jobs together.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful to have kids see what you do.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. What's one thing in your business that drains you of energy, and what's one thing that excites you?
The thing that excites me is that I love when the clients do get coverage. I mean, it moves the needle. It makes all the difference in the world. And they get excited, and then more people know about them. So one thing that makes me not, I'm so lucky. I just love what I do. And that's kind of a problem because it's kind of hard to turn it off.
Yeah.
It's just, I just can't believe I've been so blessed.
Yeah.
To be in this world of helping small businesses. It just totally goes with my mission.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it's gratefulness leads to happiness, right? So
it is. And the outlets of being able to mentor with SCORE and to help small businesses, I mean, that brings so much good energy, for me. So when I do retire, I'll continue to do that because that's what I love most.
Got you. So you're not going to retire?
Oh no. I might be mentoring on the Camino de Santiago or something, but so. And that's not for a while. Just let's get that straight.
What's something you consume religiously? Could be like a blog, TV show, a food, a book, anything. I'm
an avid reader of spiritual books.
Okay.
And I start my morning with meditation. And so, yeah, it's a very quiet part of my life.
Okay.
But I think it's a very important part. And I believe heavily in the power of prayer and visualization.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first year I started my business, somebody said, you need to think bigger, because I put the little yellow sticky notes on my mirror saying I want to hit $25,000.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn to be bolder in my thinking and my prayer.
So what is your favorite book?
Oh God, I have 6 on my on my. I love Simple Abundance, and it's a morning passage that I read every morning. It centers me. I literally visualize my entire day before I get out of bed, and to be more productive. I mean, I know what I'm doing the whole day. There's really something to visualization.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they teach Olympic swimmers the visualization of, finishing first, and it's very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not just swimmers, but anybody in sports.
Yeah.
Visualization is huge.
That kind of goes along with the theme I see recurring in your life, is that's just having a plan. Like every day you have a plan.
Have a plan.
And you know what's coming.
Yeah.
You know what to expect.
And that's what was so interesting about walking the Camino de Santiago. There is no plan. It forced me to chill a little bit more.
Okay.
And, I never knew where I was going to sleep that night. I didn't know where I was going to eat. You walk 15 miles a day and hope you find a hostel.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very good, calming training for me. I'll probably end up doing it again.
Awesome. I feel like that would stress me out more than calm me down.
It took about a week to realize it teaches you faith.
Yeah,
it teaches you to trust that everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
So it's very good training.
What is one of the best parties you've ever been to?
You know what? I'm not a big party girl.
Okay, all right.
I used to be in high school, and the fact that I deal with, my life is very public, and it's very people oriented.
So you have to be careful how it got you.
Yeah, well, I just like to go. I do what we call ghosting. I'll show up at the functions and I don't say goodbye. My daughter said, "You just ghost out of there." Poof, she's gone. But yeah, I'm not a big party.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. What was the last experience that made you a stronger person?
Probably walking the Camino.
Okay.
Yeah, it just you realize how much faith you do have that, and being an entrepreneur is scary. I mean, these recessions and different people in leadership mean different. I mean, like right now, we're all trying to figure out how are we going to budget for healthcare and how are we going to budget for taxes. I mean, you got to just trust and just know that it really is going to be okay. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, it's scary and it's lonely as well, because it's hard.
Is.
It's hard to find somebody you can talk to about it.
And that's why our community is so wonderful, because we all speak the same language, and we're all in it together. But it will be okay.
That's true.
I've seen, how many recessions have I lived through? A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this. When was the last time you had an amazing meal?
I am a big foodie.
Okay.
But I'm a very simple foodie. I love very simple whole foods. So I might have a plate of asparagus and some nuts and a green drink. I mean, I'm not the typical one where you go out and be wined and dined, but I'm very conscious of what I eat. Yeah. Yeah. I know that food is energy, and I do love to go out to eat dinner, but I really try and
still keep it simple.
Watch it.
Got you. Okay. What is something you learned last week?
Actually, sorry. I was just thinking, I'm going to ask you a question. What do you like most about Savannah? What has been the most difficult thing about breaking into Savannah?
The most difficult thing?
Because you've only been here a year, right?
Yeah, about a year and a half. Yeah, a year.
Because this is good. This is going to be good advice for. We have so many people moving to Savannah.
Finding where I fit in. There are so many different groups, so many different great people, giving people, but I still haven't found where I fit in yet, because it is so many groups. Yeah. And it is, I wouldn't say it's segregated, but it's just everybody's clicked up. So it's like, how do I find
See,
the
that's
click to be in?
interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the hardest part. But everybody's welcoming. I haven't been. Everybody wants me to come back, so it's very welcoming. But it's just finding the right fit for me.
I think it would be. This is so cool that you offer this interview. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I saw on YouTube all the people that you've interviewed. I mean, so that's a really good strategy of figuring out the landscape of this place.
It is. Yeah. I did it before in Chicago briefly, and I've done a lot of podcasts in the past. So it was just a good fit. When I found a radio station and they wanted me, and it was a new thing, I figured I could add to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know of another show that we can be on this long, just having
right,
a conversation.
Yeah, right.
It's wonderful.
Right.
So do you have sponsorships? I mean, how does that work?
So it's through the station. The station is community based, and it's all volunteer. So,
is it really?
Yep, it's all volunteer. It's literally the NPR of Savannah, right? Because because we need donations, and we have to do events to raise money for the station.
When's your next event?
I don't know when the next event is. The last 2 weeks we've been doing a pledge drive, which would raise a little bit of money, enough for 1 month, a little bit more than 1 month. But yeah, so maybe we can brainstorm later on ways to help the station get more exposure.
Absolutely. Gosh, well, keep up the good work, and thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah.
I love to talk about small business. And, and that's my passion. That's my mission.
Good. All right. Well, I'll let you. I got 3 more questions.
Oh, okay.
The 3 more that I ask everyone. So, 80-20 rule, right? 20% of your actions equal 80% of your results. That's Pareto's principle. So, in your business, what are the 20% of things you do every day that gets you the most results? Plan.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen our reputation matrices that we've trademarked. I mean, it is not only do I plan out PR strategies that way, this time every year in November, December, I also plan my following year. And I mean, I have a lot of goals, and I think walking the Camino has helped me calm down a little bit on that and have trust. But it definitely, I mean, you definitely get things done when you plan.
What's one of your goals that you can share? That you want to share?
Oh, I need a new garage. That's really, I need to do. The last hurricane, it flooded my garage and it just ruined the whole bottom of it. So if there's any local garage companies, let me know, because I need to buy a new door.
Actually, the president of the Small Business Chamber, he has a company called Grand Garages, and he does like remodels.
I will call him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Regan Drake. I got to get him on the show one day.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Definitely. And that's another thing. We want to shop locally. Absolutely.
Yep. The Buy Local campaign is coming up soon. I guess when this airs, it'll just be done. But yeah. 2 more. If you had a superpower or ability, what would you choose and why?
I'd love to figure out how to relax. I mean, really relax. I mean, I can meditate, but it's amazing how hard it is just to take a deep breath and not think about small business, not think about everything that you have to do.
Yeah.
So that's not like something you see on Superman or something, but I mean, that would help me a lot. But it actually...
Chill pill woman.
Yeah. But you know what? To do this kind of work, you have got to be the Energizer Bunny.
You do. You really
have
do.
no idea. I mean, you should shadow us one time. I mean...
I would love to, yeah.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it's usually with clients at media, something. I mean, you never, ever get bored. It's just the coolest business to be in.
Okay. Last question. Advice for entrepreneurial kids.
Do it. Just do it. Okay. So let's say there's a kid that likes to do art. Like, actually start a business. And that's where junior achievement comes in. And it's so beautiful because they can take their ideas and like do a marketing campaign around it, actually open a checking account. If you haven't been through JA, anybody listening, you should go through it because I mentored some kids through JA many years ago at Beach High School, and they wanted to put together a rap song. Okay. So I said, here we go. So they created it, we videotaped it, and they sold stock in the company. And wow. I remember at that time, Jack Kingston, our congressman, came out and watched it. And it just, I mean, it gives you an idea of what it's like to start a business. I was so fortunate to have entrepreneurial parents. But actually, this is my third business. My first business, I was an art dealer because I lived in Italy 3 years.
Okay.
So I bought all this art and came back to the States and sold it. And then I sold some of my mom's artwork too, but she died. And then when we moved down here for a very brief time, I drew note cards of historic cities and sold them as fundraisers through historical societies.
Nice.
Because my father could print them. But then I said, I want to do this PR thing. This is so powerful. So, and it's actually, I like the business to business better than the business to consumer. It's just, it works better for me.
Got you. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Marjorie. We'll
thank
round
you.
the show off with that.
Woohoo! High five!
We made it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I enjoyed the show, and I can't wait to share it with everyone.
Thank you.
All right. So, yeah, how can people find you? Once again, everyone listening, is Marjorie Young.
Not
Carriage
old.
Trade.
No. Actually, I am old. Yes.
Can't tell.
Anyhow, no. We have a website, carriagetradepr.com. So thank you.
All right. Simple as that. Thank you, everybody out there, for listening. As always, be the change you want to see in the world. Go out there and take action. We don't have a lot of time on earth. We have to take every minute we have and do something great with it. So thank you guys for listening. I love you, and I'll see you next time.